to hide and seek. My alarm blares into my ears, only to be swiftly silenced by my fist. My body switches into auto mode, carrying my subconscious self out of bed into my uniform. As always, my bottles of pills sit on my desk patiently, waiting for me to take them. I picked out my daily dosage of medicine, 17 pills a day. Before I know it, I'm opening the door to class 3-3. I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one who seems to be a little hungover from the festival week. Every face in the classroom looks gaunt, with the festival now over. It's as if everyone's life dreams have been achieved. With nothing left to live for, the students of what? Alright, nothing left to live for. The students have relied on instincts alone to guide them to class. Or maybe I'm just reading too much into it. I slowly make my way to my seat, and it's only then that I realize why the room is so peaceful. The seats beside me are blissfully empty. The world's loudest entrepreneur for the deaf has yet to arrive. Okay, that startled me. Just as I am about to sit down, the door flies open, revealing a resplendent Misha. Drills bobbing from the dramatic entrance and arms stretched towards the sky. Yahoo! It's all over! It would appear that not everyone is affected by the post-festival depression. The rest of the class glare at her, obviously thinking the same thing I am. Misha's still frozen in the doorway with her arms still in the air, nervously looking around. It's obviously that she senses the foul mood, but can't work out exactly what to do. Suddenly she jerks forward. Hey! As she stumbles into the classroom, she reveals Shizune, arms still extended from where she shoved Misha. Thanks for the entertainment, but shouldn't you two take your seats? Still slightly embarrassed, Misha takes a few seconds to realize she has to translate. Oh, yeah, Shi-chan says she's not happy with you ditching us last week. What? We were really busy. Is that so? What about the stuff I already did for you two? She says that only counts for council members. Since you declined, she doesn't owe you anything. Misha leans closer and whispers conspiratorially into my ear. Actually, I think she's just a little sore that you didn't spend the day with her. Oh. She's really thankful for your work last week, though. Sensing that she's being talked about, Shizune lightly wraps her fingers around her desk until Misha turns around to face her. I can't understand any of the fast-paced signing that's going on, but Shizune's slightly embarrassed expression, and Misha's poorly contained laughter, I can guess. Oh. While this exchange is happening, the door opens once again, but this time at a much more reasonable pace. Too bad for you, Shizune. We chose Hanako for this time. Hanako quietly enters the room and pulls the door closed behind her. Peering out from under her hair, she quickly scans the classroom. Her eyes meet and she suddenly stiffens. She closes her eyes and takes a deep breath and then walks over to my desk. Whoa! That's a big move. Good morning, Isao. Morning, Hanako. You're a little late, aren't you? I was talking to Lily. The fact that she's conversing with us in the middle of class with everyone else is huge. It's huge. About today. Oh, so you've got the list. Then we can leave. Wait, we can leave straight after class in that case. I gotta be right back. Hey, it's Nigao here, and as you can see, I'm back on the menu. And also, there's this picture of Hanako from the Act 2, whatever. So, some things have changed for the next act, as you can clearly see. It shows which act we're on right now. This being the first act, and this being the second. Also, what also has changed now is that there are... what's the right word? There are a lot less options, and, a lot less options now. Because the first act was just to see which girl you'd go with. And since we chose Hanako, or I chose Hanako for this one, there's gonna be a lot less decisions for us, and this Al will be making most of them for himself. Also, I think, if I am correct, these acts are a lot less, sorry, my chair's really squeaky. There's a lot less in the next acts, like there's a lot less story. Well, not really. I think there's, like, it's not as long as Act 1, but I might be wrong. Looks like we stopped at exactly 7 hours though. That's pretty impressive. I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to talk about. If it comes up, I'll just, stop it. So I think we just read this, and then I went BRB. So sure. I'm looking forward to it. Naoko briefly flashes her embarrassed smile at me, then hurries off to her seat. During classes, it becomes apparent that it's not only the students that are a little disobedient after the festival. Matao simply gives us a little exercise from the textbook and then sits behind his desk. I totally forget about the brief lunch period for a moment. Such is the banality of the day. It's mind-numbing, and everyone seems surprised when the bell signal at the end of the lesson. As I'm packing my bags, Shizune and Misha flank and entrap me. Say it, Chad. It's still not too late to join up. There's a lot of post-festival paperwork for us to complete. You're still on about it. Sorry, Misha. I've got plans. As if sensing the cue, Hanako appears behind me, holding a small bag and trying to avoid eye contact with the outside world. Misha's eyes open wide, even though her eyes are closed there, and then she bursts into laughter. Wah! You move fast, don't you, Chan? We won't disturb your dates any further. Behind the roaring Misha, I see Zerun taking far too little interest in the scene. I might be taking this the wrong way, but I think she's deliberately ignoring me. I feel a gentle tug on my shirt. I turn to see Anaga's eyes fixed firmly on the floor. That's pretty cute. Well, let's... Gotcha. Shizune, Misha, I'll see you later. And I'm still not interested in the council. Wow. Spoiled sport. Misha and Sejun retreat in the hallway, happily signing into each other. At least, I think at least Misha is okay with it. I don't know. Got all your stuff? Let's head off. Floods of students pour out of the school gates and onto the road into town. It's a little weird. It's almost a scene from any other high school, but the illusion fades because of the occasional wheelchairs or the missing limb. One thing I do notice is that nobody is alone. And, as Hanako and I pass through the gates, I notice that she closes the distance between us. Not enough to be considered close, which she certainly is, and that isn't as her usual, just a little far position. I guess we're not familiar enough for her to get as close as she does with Lily. However, even though she has moved a little closer to me physically, mentally she seems to have traveled a mile. Her hands clutched around the leather strap of her bag to the point of whitening her knuckles, her head down and her mouth pursed down closed. She almost looks like she is being walked to the principal's office for the first time. I try to stifle a giggle at the thought, but it's futile. What's the matter? I guess there's no point in hiding it. Sorry. For a second there, it looked like you were getting in trouble. What do you mean? I think you need to relax a little. We're not going too far, and it's only students around, right? Right. It bothered me a little to see Hanako so worked up. And you do this every week, don't you? Yes, with Lily. Of course, with Lily. I wonder how she even left the school without her. I wonder, has she ever left the school without her? It doesn't seem like much at first glance, but Hanako's dependence on Lily is absurdly heavy. If she can't even handle leaving the school without her, how would she have managed to survive if the two had never met? Would she have found someone else to latch onto? And what drew her to Lily? Was it her lack of eyesight? Or was Lily just kind enough to lend her a hand? I wonder if anyone would have fit the bill. Well, I'm here. Besides, we're not going too far. It'll be over before you know it. Naoko's knuckles slowly regain their color as she tries to hide a small smile, but the effect of that seems to prevent further conversation. We travel side by side down the winding road. The crowd of students thins as we continue along the sidewalk. Faster students rush ahead, and the less mobile ones fall behind, rarefiing the crowd and into nothingness. Looks like we're back at 7. By the time we reach the convenience store, we are practically alone. Using me as a shield between herself and the attendant, Hanako moved through the narrow aisles, adding the assortment of items to her basket. Bread, milk, tea, thyme? What kind of convenience store sells herbs? Actually, I thought it was pretty in Japan or something. At least the convenience stores are like a lot useful, like they're really convenient. Then again, nothing about this town seems normal, which may not be such a bad thing in retrospect. Everything is so different and uncomfortable. Dwelling on such matters isn't really an option. When I think about that, it reminds me of Hanako. No matter how much you try, you can't escape her scars. They still interrupt my train of thought when I see them. As much as I don't want to admit it to myself, I think I'm forcing myself to try and ignore them. Not that I am scar-free myself, the jagged line down my sternum will never completely fade away. Just have the luxury of being able to hide it easily. I have a few scars, but they're really not that noticeable. But in a way, both our scars remind me that we're all in this place for a reason. Hanako throws one last item into her basket, and then sheepishly holds it out to me, along with a few banknotes. Could you please? It takes me a second to understand what she's trying to say. Oh, you want me to pay for this? She nods but doesn't look up. I guess this task falls into Lily on the usual occasions. Sure, let me just grab a couple of things. I hastily grab a few essential items for myself and head for the counter with Hanako in close tow. The attendant gives me an indifferent nod, as he scans the items. I suppose just ignoring us is one way to deal with the anomalies of Yamaku. It must have get a lot of students here, being the closest door to the school. The staff must all have their own way of dealing with us. Or maybe they don't. Maybe it's only me who thinks twice about the unique schoolmates. I still think it's only you, Sal. Our transaction complete, Naoko and I head back to the back out onto the street. The road is pretty much abandoned now. The students that were heading out have already left, and nobody has started returning just yet. And with only the school ahead on the road, there don't seem to be anyone else around here. The emptiness certainly reflects on Hanako, her arms by her side, each carrying a bag. Her head no longer bowed and back to the upright position. It's almost as if she's enjoying this walk. Still, all these weird things, mixed spice, why would you need that in school? I sometimes like to make food. Well, yeah, so do I, but spices? That's a little more advanced, don't you think? Not really. Well, I think it's cool. You have to teach me one day. Sure. She doesn't seem all that sure, but pushing the point doesn't seem all that wise. At the very least, she seems a great deal happier than on the walk down here. The alone makes me a little happier. This has become like my bedtime story, pretty much. And outside the girls' dorms, Hanako and I sort out the grocery bags with our respective purchases. In comparison, my things look positively plain. I tell you, you're putting me into shame here. No, I'm not. I'm only joking. I have a stack of homework that I skipped last week, so I must leave now. I do too, Sal. Will you be alright getting that to your room? Yeah. Sure. Okay then, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. We part ways, and I return to my room. Piles of papers sit upon my desk, begging to be completed. The entire ruckus of last week, I'd barely had any time to catch up. For me, it's right under my arm actually. I'm pressing the space bar. I have my keyboard set up so it's like up a higher level than the desk. So I have my hand under it with my thumb on the space bar. Then I have my homework resting for like an armrest on the desk. I try to keep up with my studies while I was in hospital, but with some of this stuff I've never seen before, even back in my old school. Except Sal being busy, I'm not really being busy. I'm reading this. Totally unprepared, I pop on the top of a can of drink and get to work. I'm sorry, Sal, but I only have water.